Hello, I'm EnterElysium and welcome to my review for Payday 2. Now, I must admit I've actually done this review twice already and thrown it away both times because there are lots of small, relatively small, and some moderate problems with the game, but I actually do enjoy it, and it's hard to kind of cover all of these small aspects and yet stay positive. So just bear in mind, I do like the game, but it has a lot of issues. So let's get on with it. Right, I'm going to jump into the options menu. I know other people do this in their reviews, but you know what? I put in the options menu first of all when I first load the game up, so let's have a look anyway. Controls, fully rebindable, separate look and aiming sensitivity, which is nice. Hold crouch, hold run, blah blah blah. All awesome. Video, you've got, you know, resolution, blah 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 blah. Hit confirm. Objective reminder message, this is on by default. Turn it off! In the top left-hand corner of your screen, it tells you your mission objective. You don't need something popping up every 2 minutes in the middle of your screen, a very large text box telling you, by the way, this is your mission objective. I bloody well know! I've been doing this mission. But, anyway. Advanced, you can change all your anthroposcopic and stuff like that in here. FOV adjustment. This wasn't originally in the game, but in the beta people complained, and they finally put it in. They really should have had it in to begin with. I'm getting fed up with games not putting an FOV in when they're first-person shooters, but it's nice that they put it in. It doesn't have any numbers though, so it's been kind of put half-heartedly. It'd be nice to actually see numbers on there, so you know what your FOV is, but I think full is about 100, which is nice because I game 100, so cool. Right, so let's go back. Sound, all separate, that's nice. Right. Now, Payday. What is Payday? Payday is a game where you play some criminals and you basically steal stuff normally. Sometimes there's a bit of variation, but normally you're stealing stuff and you're doing some sort of heist, and there's 4 of you working cooperatively against waves of police as you do it. Now, that's the first game. The second game is pretty much similar in that, but it's a little less colourful and slightly less eccentricity and a little bit more gritty and serious. Now, the main complaint about Payday 1 is there weren't enough maps, and it got a bit repetitive. Payday 2? Well, you think they'd have had a winning formula and they'd have improved on it. They've changed a lot in terms of the small things, so it's been made a little bit more gritty, and they've changed a couple of things. There aren't a lot more maps, and despite some opportunities, glaring opportunities to have new stuff, it's still the same old missions and police coming in waves, which is a shame, because there really were chances to do some different things. I think they need to get some sort of maybe a new writer or ideas person or something, just to give a bit more injection in. I mean, the core gameplay is a solid idea, and it works, it's nice. Basically a wave shooter in effect. Right, so. But in this, to improve the... what's the word? The variability on the old game, where the old game you need a couple of different weapons and you'd unlock maybe, an upgrade and an upgrade at certain levels. You actually have your skills and you have an inventory. In skills, you can spec Mastermind, Enforcer, Technician, Ghost. See what I've done here? I've mostly gone Ghost, a little bit Technician, a little bit Enforcer. And you get skill points when you level up, and you can buy these skills with them. But the skills also cost money, which is a bit weird. Personally, I think that skills, if they're costing skill points, should be kept separate from the money system. But there we go. They've also done some weird things, like moving bodies requires an aced skill, because of course you have to be an ace to know that you can move a body. Shouldn't that come under the common sense? And there are a couple of things like that. You still can't move hostages when you take hostages, which is complete from the first game. It's not even a perk. Just some of these things feel very odd. They've also taken out the ability to handcuff guards and take them as prisoners. You can only do that with a certain special ability in a certain tree, and you just shout at the guard. You don't have to wound them or anything. And it feels very much like they've chopped little bits out of the game to make them into skills, to kind of widen the skill tree. Which is kind of annoying, but it's nice to get a lot of abilities and stuff. I like the core idea of being able to do this. They've done it in a little bit of a weird way, but it is good nonetheless that you can sort of choose sort of your skills and so on instead of leveling up a linear tree, which they had in the first game. If you go into inventory, you've got primary weapons, you can buy weapons, secondary armor, and this is also pretty cool. It's got like visibility, so if you wear that, you're like less visible, because there's a stealth element to most missions as well that you can try and at least do the beginning or maybe even the entire mission in stealth, which we'll get onto. I'll talk about that in a minute. Now, you're like least visible, so it takes guards long to spot you when you're wearing a suit, but you've got less armor. It also has a movement penalty. It'd be nice if they actually had a bar here for movement penalty, because they've one for visibility, which, you know, visibility. But they don't have one for a movement penalty, despite the fact that some things give a movement penalty, which is a bit weird. Also, if the suit is the least visible bit of armor, why does it say visibility medium? Is there like a DLC they're like planning on having less visible clothing? I mean, I don't know, what's less visible than a suit in most of the missions you're in? What? I have no idea. It's a bit odd, but anyway. One of the things is that the description is pretty awful. Like, look at this. The ECM Jammer is an electronic countermeasure designed to trick radar, sonar, and other detection systems. It's got a special ability that you can unlock at a certain level, and this special ability does this. Okay, what does it do without the special ability? It doesn't tell you. If you look at the actual skill required to use it, it does actually tell you what it does. It doesn't give you much information. It doesn't tell you what the time it applies or the range it applies to. And a lot of the descriptions here, I've actually just had to go onto the web and look them up before purchasing the tiers and stuff, because it doesn't tell you. And it would be helpful if it did, because there's so much variation and different things you can purchase now. You really want to have at least some information about why and what you're purchasing. I mean, if we go, one of the annoying things, if you go into here and you go buy a new weapon, okay. I'm thinking of buying the Para submachine gun. But I want to have a silencer weapon as my backup weapon. So does it come with a silencer? You can look here and you've got Stubby, the fire breather, the bigger the better, the tank, these barrel extensions. What do they do? I mean, I assume these two are suppressors. Cool. But I haven't got them unlocked. That's another thing. You can only unlock gun attributes or whatever by a certain random chance modifier at the end of a mission. So I've got quite a lot of money sitting in the bank at the moment. I've got $250,000, and I'm not buying anything because I don't have the upgrades put on them. I mean, for your main weapon, unless you're going to run like a shotgun, you really want a sight on it, but you have to unlock these sights. Also, if you take the sight off a weapon, it costs you the same amount of money to buy it again to put it back on. You can't just take it off and then put it back on. You have to rebuy it every time. So first of all, you have to unlock these, random chance unlock as well, and then you have to buy them. Which seems a weird way of gating it, especially when they're not just side grades. They're actually, like if we have a look at... This is your starting assault rifle, the AMCAR. Look at that. Compared to my other weapon. It's crappier in every regard and got more recoil. And got a smaller clip. You have slightly more total ammo. A lot of the weapons aren't side grades, they're pure upgrades. And I think they should have learned a bit from things like Battlefield 3, where a lot of people run the default, was it an M16 equivalent carbine as the default? Is it the M16 or the M4? No, the M4 is a carbine. It's the M16, but a lot of people run that, despite the fact that it's the default weapon, because all weapons in a lot of these popular shooters are side grades, and that's why they're really good. It's because you don't have to get things and you don't feel underpowered to begin with. In this game, you are incredibly underpowered to begin with, and I've not a problem with that. It's a semi-RPG. But having some of the more high-level weapons being definitely improvement over this weapon, it gates a lot of stuff you can do, and this is where the problem comes in. Now, you can do crimes online, it'll show you this, but let's just use the offline for the moment, just for demonstration. This is what happens when you go to choose your missions. Missions slowly pop up, they also time out, and you have to pick them. Like, the number of white dots is the cache, and the yellow dot is the difficulty, so that's hard, that's very hard, and all these other ones are normal. That's hard as well, that's hard. But the problem is you don't get to go, right, well, I'd actually want to do framing, but on a normal difficulty. You don't get to choose it. You have what it gives you, and you have to wait around. I mean, a lot of these, like all these bank ones, they're all on the same map. And there's at least 3 bank ones that take place on the same map. But I don't want to play them. I may have played the bank a lot recently. I may have only got the bank in my last draw. And you can end up going, right, well, I don't want any of the ones you're giving me because they're either too high level, like these ones here, they're too high level probably, that's probably too high level. That's maybe too lower payoff, because it's only like 3 dots of payoff and no difficulty modifier. So it's artificially limiting what you've got access to. When Admittedly, there are probably more maps in this than there are in the original one. However, the maps are smaller and missions may take place over several maps. So you end up going over maps you probably recognise. I mean, I think I've been to the bank on at least 4 different missions. The same bank map, with very little variation. And this was one of the big complaints about the original one, is there should have been more maps. And what they've done is they have made more maps, but they've made the maps smaller. And they've made them repeat in different missions. Now, one interesting thing they've done is that they've made missions that are multi-map long. So this is 3 days long. So if we actually go in, actually not rats, this is, oh god, actually I'll show you. No, I won't. God, no, horror. This mission is one of the biggest complaints I have about the game recently, mainly because I tried to play it earlier and completely failed. You have to retrieve the meth, and it turns out that you have to in fact make meth while the police attack you. First of all, that's completely bollocks, as it should be. It doesn't make sense in the law to... You're a heist person, you steal money from banks. Why you go in there, try to steal, like, the meth, and then go, oh, well, I need to make the meth before I steal it. While being attacked by police. Anyway, to make it, you have to get the ingredients, and then the person tells you over the radio what to add next. But sometimes he gets it wrong. And if you add the wrong ingredient, because he gets it wrong, then the entire place explodes, anyone in the room gets down, the room is on fire, so it's very difficult to get someone back from the room, and then you have to leave with no money. Just because the guy, random chance, tells you the wrong ingredient and you add it. Take these random elements away. I want to use skill to beat my game. I don't want to have pure random fluke gating my skill. Pure random fluke adding to your skill, maybe, good, but gating it and like artificially limiting your skill level, no. And I find that the same applies to a lot of the trying to get into the mission silently. There's a lot of luck involved in trying to do a mission silently. And while a little bit of luck is fine, there's a bit too much luck and it just feels... Right, so let's try a bank one, just because there's a lot of banks around. So this bank is a normal difficulty. I'll probably still fail it because I'm trying to commentate at the same time, but here we go. Tells you the stuff. Locate the bank. Drill. Drill. Keep civilians in check. Escape with money. That is about 60, 70, 80% of all the missions is locate X, drill it, drill something else. Grab the bags, run away. More than that, actually. It's a lot of the missions, nearly all the missions are that. And if there's multi-mission ones, then you'll have to trade the bags for something else, or take the bags to a drop point, or something similar. And it would be nice to actually see some variation. I really want variation. It is a game that so well adds to it. And a lot of the missions you're trying to break into the drug lord's compound, or whatever it is, or the enemy mafia people, and there's enemy mafia people keeping watch or whatever. But as soon as they get alerted, instead of them attacking you, the police come in waves again. What do? Call the police to defend their drug money? It cries out in that circumstance to have them attacking you in waves, and that would be some nice variation. And I understand it'd be more difficult to do, but that was the main complaint in the first game, and that would be really easy to solve, like variation instantly there. It's already suggested by the plotline that you've got going on. Because a lot of these missions do involve sort of an enemy gang or faction or mafia, whatever they are. So anyway, play with Team AI. Now this is a 4-player co-op game. You can play with AI if you want to, and any spare players who aren't playing will be replaced with AI. However, if you only play by yourself with AI, you only get 2 AI characters with you, not 3. There is no reason I can see for this. It doesn't make sense in the lore, because in the lore you're a team of 4 people. And it's not because the AI is so amazing that it needs all the runtime on your CPU, because the AI is completely bollocks. One nice thing is that you can buy these assets, so we can get carefree, we can see the cameras, ammo bag will be dumped in there for us, a doctor bag, inside info we'll get like a map. We've already got this blueprint. However, if you restart the mission, you'll need to rebuy these. For some of the lower cost missions where you're starting out and they cost like 10 grand or whatever, so you'll get a profit of 10 grand, these will actually set you back the entire proceeds that you'll get. And of course, if you fail the mission and choose to restart it, you lose them. Plus, if you're playing with friends, only the party leader can buy these. The other people can't, so it's all coming out of the party leader's money. You can't somehow split the cost. And these don't scale with the difficulty of the mission or anything. So if you play on normal difficulty, you'll lose your entire amount of money you could get from it, possibly, by actually buying these. It needs balancing. I like the idea, but they need to alter it. You can change your loadout from here to a certain extent. You can't equip accessories and stuff, but you can switch out your gun and you switch out your armor. So let's just rock out with a normal vest on. ECM jam, that's fine. Pistol, that's got silencer on that one. This is my secondary rifle, which is awesome. I won't buy anything mainly because they're all a bit crap. Actually, I'll buy in-sword info just so you can see. Look at that. Security room. This manager has a key, that's his office. There's panic buttons here, here, and here. Security office over here. Sometimes it's over here, despite the fact that, you know, the map doesn't actually have a room here. Occasionally it is there is a room that it just doesn't tell you about. But anyway, the vault's here. Sometimes the entrance to the vault's here. Does very little bit. Which is nice, but it's a very small map, and you will come to absolutely know this map off by heart and loathe it if you get this game. To a certain extent. It's very repetitive. It appears in, like I say, at least 4 missions. All 3 of which are just this day, this one mission.
Watch for guards. Keep an eye out for cameras. Where there's cameras, there's usually a security room. Money time.
So I'm rocking out with my custom loadout and my custom mask, which is nice. I like that. I like the idea of customization. I like the fact they've got the tree. But all of it's done a little bit weirdly and wrong, and the UI and the interface looks a bit odd. See, you see what I'm getting at? That a lot of it is good elements, but being done in a weird way, or done in a way that is lacking. Now a lot of this can be fixed and stuff in future with patches or possible DLC. Pick a lock, pick a lock. Now this is nice, you've got like, it tells you here, you could use C4, you could pick the lock, or you could use a saw to open it. These are like later unlocks though, so a lot of the stuff is gated to do with how far you're into the game. And they've gated a lot of it, like the weapons and so on. Oh crap.
Can you speak up? I can't hear anything over the sound of my own boredom.
Did he accept the pager? Like, sometimes they don't accept what you say on the pager and they sound the alarm, and I don't know why that is. Is it pure luck? Is it after a certain number of pages being answered? I don't know. I'd like to know. The stealth has very little feedback in that regard, like, it doesn't tell you how to do stealth very well at all. And it'd be nice to actually get some information on that. So, you know, that's how the stealth normally goes, because people normally spot you, etc, blah blah blah. And I can imagine it being possible, but at very high, like you've done a lot of the game. And the problem is that because they're gating it so much, it feels like they're stopping you from accessing a lot of the content. And because of that, it might make some people want to like stick with it longer so they can get to that content. But I think they've done it in such a way that actually I think I'm going to get tired of what there is, because there is like not much variation, before I actually get to the point where I can actually access this stuff. So they're stopping me from getting to the extra content. Oh god. Try not to shoot the civilians. The civilians are like glass in this. One bullet from the most ridiculously underpowered pistol and civilians die. It takes half a clip to kill most police officers. Let's just grab all the money. No point shooting the camera, but let's do it for funsies. So look at the graphics here. Looks fairly nice out here, doesn't it? No complaints. I wouldn't say it looks amazing, but you know, it looks good. A definite good. Come in here, and it looks a little bit... This is one of the better interiors. Some of the interiors look dreadful, actually. Well, not dreadful, just flat and vague and boring. But in here, it's not too bad. But there are definitely the outsides feel a lot better. It might just be because they've done a lot with the sunlight and the lighting, whatever, out there. But no, it's definitely. That's probably where the first Payday was lacking. Is that the graphics did feel very flat, but that's because it's a much older game. So I should probably not run around so much. I'm losing a lot of health because of it. But yeah, the one thing they have done over Payday 1 is Payday 1, if you want a higher difficulty settings, it would just be harder because people would have more health, etc. In this, if you go to say overkill difficulty, enemies, like, you get responded to by, like, apparently what they are, an FBI response team, but they're kitted out like some Ghost Recon dudes. They very much remind me of Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter series, but there we go. It's nice to actually see some variation other than just how spongy enemies are. One thing is, though, that enemies on this do feel a little bit spongier than on the first one. Like, if you try and just take a guy out with body shots, they do feel like they take a few too many, and this is normal difficulty. It feels a little bit too... It might just be the perception and the gun I'm using. Oh god, civilians! Yeah, the AI of civilians is derpy as always. I mean, he ran into the line of fire there. There's no improvement on that, that's the same as the other game. Payday 1. But your friendly AI, let's talk about this. They cannot carry bags. Lots of missions involve moving bags. Pretty much all missions involve moving bags. Sometimes they fire at the wall. When they try to raise you from the ground after you get downed, they stand in the open more than they stand in cover. They stand over your face so you can't actually shoot and help defend them. They don't even have a indicate, like if you're helping your friend up and you're halfway done, they'll run over and start helping him up anyway. Not giving you covering fire. Sometimes they won't come over at all. The FBI office map is particularly bad for that. The AI just won't cross certain parts of the map for some reason at some points. And the AI really gets what you can do. You cannot do certain missions unless you're incredibly lucky and with a lot of skill with the AI, because they just will not pick up bags and you have, say, 10 bags to move, which means you've got to do 10 trips while trying to defend the bags, and the enemy cops will try and pick up the bags and run away with them. So basically impossible. Whereas if you've got friends, they can pick up bags. And the AI isn't particularly good at doing other stuff, like in Left 4 Dead. The AI was fairly good at being a shot, fairly good at raising you. In this, they're really awful shots as well. I've seen them stand up next to a guy and just fill him full of lead. It just feels like they've been nerfed somewhat, because they're afraid they're going to be too powerful. But they're so limiting in terms of what they can do for objectives. You can't tell them to go anywhere other than come to me. So they'll mostly follow you around if you're playing with one player. If you're playing two player, you're still gated. I mean, imagine trying to move bags from one place to another. One person guards the bags, the other person does the relay. Who's guarding the bags at the other end? There's also problems with playing multiplayer. There are problems with the sync between the host and the clients. Like, I played it before, and I was hosting, and one of my friends was saying, yeah, I'm rezzing you now, and I was like, yeah, I'm being rezzed, but you're over the other side of the map. Apparently they were standing next to me, but it hadn't updated on the visuals. And similar for me, when someone gets downed and I'm playing, they were saying he looks like he's still walking around for me, and I can't like get him up because it looks like he's still walking around on my computer. There's problems with the sync between the two things, and that's a very important thing in a first-person shooter cooperative game. It's very, very bizarre. Hopefully that'll be sorted in future patches and so on. Here we go. Ah, excellent. Nice example. I think what we've got here, 7 bags of money. How am I meant to get 7 bags of money to the van across the street when they won't carry them? And the enemy SWAT troops will run away with them. I could just leave the money on the table. Here we go, look at him. He's shooting this. Look at the bullet holes there. Also, you get the occasional clipping through wall issue where you can be standing behind a wall and the SWAT troop's sort of gun and head will come through the wall. And chuck things into the back of the van. Now that's a nice, like, the carrying of the bags and the dropping of the bags and the ability to move bags, that feels nice. I do like that. I've actually spec'd to be really good at that in my build. And now Chains will save me. Well, he could be behind cover right there, but he's standing that way instead of there. And we lose because of it. And all in all, this is not a game if you want to play it by yourself. If you want to play it with one other person, maybe. If you want to play it with more than one other person, good, that's fine, that works. But the AI is incredibly poor. You only get 2 AI friends instead of 3, for some bizarre reason, when you're playing it 1 player. The AI is gated and cannot do any jobs, and also really is crap at shooting and pretty poor at raising you from the ground when you're down. But the core mechanics of the game are good, but it could be so much better, and I think that's what annoys me most about this game, is that it is a good core game. And I love Payday 1, I've played it loads, I've put so much time into that. And they could have iterated on it, they could have just improved the problems with that, updated the graphics engines, a couple of new missions, bit of variation, awesome. But they haven't. They've taken it a slightly different direction, they've gone for some sort of multi-classing system, and that's really cool. But it hasn't been properly implemented, a few of the things are off, the money curve's a bit weird. I mean, I've got money, I've got nothing to spend it on. Earlier in the game, you're really limited by money. And now I've got money and nothing to spend it on, and I'm only level 19, and I've only gone into a few classes. I haven't, got anywhere near the end of any one class. And it just feels all a bit weird. And there's a lot of repetitiveness in the maps and in the objectives. And that was the biggest complaint about Payday 1 that I heard. And you think they would have gone, oh, okay, this is the problem we've had with Payday 1, let's solve this. And they haven't. They've done some other stuff, which I do like, but it hasn't been done fully, and it hasn't been done to the best of its abilities. And the repetitiveness and the crappy AI, those aren't likely to change. What will change is sync issues, and possibly some of the money curve issues, and they might change the rate of which things drop. At the end of the mission you get unlocks, random chance you'll get certain things, it might be extra money, it might be a mask unlock, which are really boring, I don't like cosmetics. I really want my weapon upgrades because I want to actually have a weapon. I mean, there's no point buying a weapon if you don't have a sight for it and a suppressor for it, for most weapons. If you say want a loud pistol for when you're doing a fighting mission, then that's fine. But if you want an assault rifle, you need a sight for it, really. And those are all gated by unlocks, and then you unlock them and then you need to buy them, and if you take them off the rifle, then you need to buy them again. All in all, my opinion of the game is it is good. But for, I believe it's like £25, 25 euros or $30, so the Americans get it about £5 or €5 cheaper. Yeah, for $30, 25 quid, 25 euros. I would honestly say wait a little bit, make it come in a sale. But if this is really your thing and you've got friends who want to do it, awesome. If you've got you and maybe one other friend, I'd probably say wait a little bit, especially if it comes up on sale, because by then all the bugs will be fixed. There might be some DLC out for it, some extra variation in missions. But yeah, I think I've suitably covered every aspect of the game that I can think of. All in all, I like it, but it comes with the caveats that I've previously explained. Anyway, I've been EnterElysium. Hopefully this review's been helpful. Give me some feedback on it if you found certain parts helpful and certain parts not. I tried to cover enough stuff that anyone coming from a standpoint of really liking graphics or really liking this or really liking that can all come to it from certain angles and find it helpful. Yeah, so let me know what you think in the comments. Give me a like if you liked the review or found it at all helpful. And yeah, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. I'm going to try and do more reviews of things when I can actually, buy them and afford them and stuff. Anyway, I've been EnterElysium. Stay shiny.